Yo, what up? This is DJ Newmark, a.k.a.
Uncle New.
From Jurassic 5, and you're checking out the library with my main man, Tim Einenkel, on www.rapstation.com.
Listen to me good. The artist is the most important person. You are the teacher. People listen to you, they don't listen to their preachers.
Queen's MC, Cormega's new album, Mega Philosophy, entirely produced by Large Professor, features include Black Rob, Nature, AZ, Redman, and Styles P. With that, I want to welcome Cormega to the library with Tim Einenkel on rapstation.com. Thanks for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. So, of course, before we get into the individual tracks of the album, I kind of want to just, if you could just take us into the process of how you and Large Professor kind of got Mega Philosophy together.
Well, me and Large Professor have been talking about doing this album we've been talking about it before. We floated ideas around, and then one day we was in the studio working on my new album that was supposed to be, that I was supposed to make. And then the first song that we made for my new album was Industry. So then we decided to just make the entire album produced by Large Professor. So the song Industry, I took that from my other album and put it for Mega Philosophy. So that was the foundation of the album. Then after that, I wanted to have more songs that had strong content like that, and then we built around that.
Cool. And I want to talk about Industry a little later, but I want to go into the first track of the album, which starts out, we have to get back to our true essence before everybody tells us what hip-hop is.
Yeah.
So what conversation are you hearing about hip-hop that's bothersome to you, and who do you think is controlling the conversation now, and what should be the conversation?
I don't care about the conversation. I don't care about the conversation of hip-hop. It's not, the conversation means nothing to me. It's the reality that means something to me. The reality is hip-hop, there are people in hip-hop that are worth a lot of money that have invested in private prison stock funds, stock market or whatever. So I see a direct link and correlation between the two, which is bothersome. It's a fact that a lot of songs that you listen to nowadays, you turn on the radio and you hear the glorification, celebration, and free advertisement of alcohol and other substance things that don't benefit urban communities where this music is played. I myself grew up in the streets. I'm not from the urban areas anymore. You know, I moved, but you know, sometimes when I hear music, there's things that I didn't even know. I didn't even know what Molly was. I heard Molly so much on songs, on the radio as that I asked somebody what Molly was, and I found out it was a drug. Oh wow! You know, and it was so frequently promoted in songs and spoken in songs without being muted or deleted. The word lean, the stuff lean, the syrup stuff, that was in a lot of songs. So there's a lot of derogatory stuff that's in the music that's not being edited out. It's not being, it's not shielding our kids from that, and they're being influenced by it and then introduced to it by the music. So there's so many inconsistencies in the industry that, you know, it made it necessary for me to speak like that.
The overall theme of the album is something that I've always kind of been thinking about for quite a while, and that is that there's push for negative lyrics on mainstream radio and television versus, I mean, you even say it in your songs about positive lyrics. And, you know, there's a difference between reporting on impoverished neighborhoods versus glorification of impoverished neighborhoods and those issues, right? So why do you think this is the case? Why do you think that there's a constant push to glorify like you even said, like Molly or whatever, versus
because they want to return on their investment. They want to return on their investment. It's not even hard to. It's not hard to see. It's not hard to figure out. People want to return their investment. If you could put out music that influences people to do negative things and influences people to do things that society isn't appreciating or isn't accepting of, when you do things that society isn't accepting of, or that's crimes, you go to jail. Like I said, the industry has investments in the prison industry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which I found appalling, but it's a fact. I'm not making this up. It's not a conspiracy. This is a fact. They want to return their investment. If you could keep people doing negative things, living negative, you can keep people's heads in the clouds, and they're going to continue falling into those traps that are out there. And every time they fall into those traps, somebody's going to get a return on their investment, because the prison industry is a business, you know. So you see that, and then you see, and then in some ways it's also an oppression of people. You know, there's all kinds of oppression. There's all kinds of slavery. There's, you know, it's physical, spiritual, and mental. What they're doing is mental enslavement. When you dumb down the people, and when you give them no hope, and when you have them abandon everything that will benefit them in life, then you are oppressing them. You have now a climate in hip hop where people don't respect elders, or people don't respect those who came before them, the pioneers. Like, you know, people don't even respect, it's like the elders are always the ones that you're supposed to listen to and get the jewels from. Me, myself, I listen to all the elders. And I'm not just talking about in music, I'm talking about in life. Whereas in music, there's been a climate, in our genre, there's a climate of discontent between the older and the younger generation. And I tried to break that. I tried to bridge that gap. But I see that. When you divide the elders from the youth, then there's going to be a void. And when there's a void, then there's chaos. And the elders are always the one that have the knowledge. So you see a great degree of disrespect for the elders. You see a great degree of disrespect for the women. If you don't respect your women, you don't respect your elders, and then you have no knowledge yourself, then you are just a shell. You know, so that's what we're dealing with right now.
In the track "More," you say let's compare slaves to rappers, right? And then you go on to kind of explain the relationship between the MC and the MC and a major laborer is similar to the slave/master relationship. There's obviously so much you could explain in a track. So I wanted to kind of give you that opportunity to elaborate more on it. Like, what were you trying to say with these lyrics?
I mean, that's not even explained. That's self-explanatory.
Nice.
That right there is self-explanatory. I said something about how slaves and artists have similarities, you know what I'm saying, and how very few artists own masters, you know, or you know, that right there is very simple. It wasn't complex. All you gotta do is sit and absorb it, and you'll get it. It was real complex. It was real simple.
Chain reaction. Let's compare slaves to rappers. They censor freedom of speech, and very few lead with masters. He who has nothing is intrigued with status. Is a lie. I can't believe these rappers. A label makes 10 million when your CD's platinum. What did you bring home? Did you recoup? Are you mad? I understand I'm speaking the truth.
Right, definitely. And so I want to go to another track, Industry, which is what we've been playing a lot on Rap Station, and I know Chuck, it's one of Chuck's favorite tracks.
I appreciate that.
You really just, I mean, you just, you know, gloves are off, and you just kind of take it to the industry on this one. So I want to know, I mean, you talk about how the artist is the most important person in the industry. Do you still
and
think
the fan. And the fan.
But do you still think that's kind of hold true today regarding the artists that are just really in it to make, like, they see a formula and they just want to make a quick profit? I mean, are they still the most important person, or are they just kind of just perpetuating this, you know?
Let me tell you something. Those artists have a short lifespan. They might have temporary glory right now, but it doesn't last. Look at Public Enemy right now. You barely can find Chuck D standing still. Because why? Because he's always touring. He's always doing something. You know, good music is like good food. You never see, in America we have places like Sylvia's and other places that have soul food. You never hear commercials for Sylvia's. They don't do advertisement. They don't have to. Word of mouth means a lot to people. And word of mouth, when something comes out of your mouth, it comes from your heart first. And people speak it and they embrace it. Certain artists, those gimmicky rappers, they have their glory, but it's temporary. You got artists like Boot Camp Click, Public Enemy, like you look on any given day, you'll see old school shows with Big Daddy Kane, L, Slick Rick. All of them, they're doing a lot of shows. They're doing a lot more shows than some artist that was on fire, hot in the early 2000s or even in the mid 2000s. There's guys that had platinum records out or hit singles out in the early 2000s or mid 2000s who don't do half as many shows as Public Enemy or Big Daddy Kane, etc., and barely can't get shows now. And because let me tell you something, the thing about mainstream music is no loyalty. When I say that, I mean the fans. There's no fan loyalty because they haven't grown with you. You're just the flavor of the month. So after that flavor's gone, then you're done. So I would rather be an artist that focuses on content and has some substance to them. Because whenever you have substance, people absorb it, and then that's the most important thing to read. So lyrics and content and a feel. When people feel you, they tend to flock to you. They tend to be attracted to you. It's magnetism. And a lot of these artists that those one-hit wonder dudes or these fad dudes, they don't have that. And when the fad dies, you're done.
Women live numbers can be altered to look high. Shareholders hate taking losses. This is business. They don't care about your lyrics. The better you sell, the better future for their children. Controversy sells, so they support conflict. Makes more progress, means more profit. And artists gets killed, they say they so sorry.
I want to talk about something you just talked about a little later, in regards to Home featuring Black Rob. But I want to ask you one more question about the track industry. Once again, you really expose the relationship between the artist and the major label, and it seems like there's an influx of MCs out there, like you mentioned, Boot Camp Click, Chuck, Pharoah Monch, Jean Grey,
Wu-Tang Clan,
numerous
artists that have made classic good music are doing quite well, but America doesn't project that image. You would think that you don't know what to think because you don't hear them on the radio, so people make their own perception, and that's a false perception because a lot of the artists that we just named are doing quite well.
Right. So do you also think? I mean, do you think the future of the major label, because so many people are being able to do the independent route? Do you think they're in jeopardy?
Of course they are, because people are starting to see through them. And a lot of people are doing the digital thing now. A lot of people are doing their own thing now. And that's why labels decided to make 360 deals, so they can try to get any kind of income that they can from you. Now they want your merchandise money, your digital money, show money, et cetera, because their income is waning. And the playing field is being evened out. Until, of course, the majors figure out a way to buy out ish. Maybe they'll try to buy out a YouTube or buy out some of the other things, and then they'll have you paying for that. So until then, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's definitely a possibility because people that are obsessed with money, people that are gluttons, being a glutton is an addiction, and they're not ready to go cold turkey on their addiction of greed. So, they will try to figure out a way to exploit that. But until then, the independent guys are standing on top. They're doing quite well.
Cool. In the track Home featuring Black Rob, you really discuss your personal journey as maturing as an artist and the work ethic and you've even talked about it here, that the work ethic that brings success / career longevity in this industry. So how have you changed as an MC since you first came on the scene in the late 80s, early 90s? And what was that moment that told you needed to mature?
I mean, I don't even know if it's about maturing. I think it's about a desire to want to be great, and there's a desire. I mean, when you project a certain image, people tend to make assumptions of the image you project. If I project myself as I'm just some thug or I'm just some wild guy, and et cetera, then people tend to think that's who you are, and they think they know you better than you are. So in recent years, I just decided to let people know who I really am, and I've surprised people because I'm far more intelligent and far more articulate than I've ever been given credit for until recently. So I just want people to understand there's more to any, like, you can't judge a book by its cover. I'm from the streets, but I'm educated, and there are many people from the streets that are educated. And as Malcolm X said, stumbling is not falling. So, I wanted to just uplift myself first and then try to uplift others because I know that I'm an influential person to a lot of people. I know that I made it from being incarcerated into music, et cetera, and I know people follow that. And I know people that are incarcerated look at me as a ray of hope or a beacon of hope. So being that I could be a source of inspiration and indoctrination for positivity, I had to strive to do better and do more so people could strive to do as I do or achieve what I've done.
Cool. There's a lyric that stands out in the song rap-osque to me. That it's what you say is, I'm not like you. My lifestyle didn't come from rap. I'm just curious, whom are you addressing there? And I mean, who are you talking to? And
that's irrelevant. I didn't say. Matter of fact, I didn't say anybody impersonal. I didn't say I'm not like you. My lifestyle come from rap. I said we're not the same. My lifestyle come from rap. I'm talking about everybody or anybody. I'm not on any personal vendettas. I don't have any personal gripes. I'm tired of beef. Beef sucks, and beef is not me. I don't want to be defined for that. I want to be defined for somebody that's a witty artist, somebody that's striving to be great. So that song was not to anybody in general. And if somebody felt it was for them, then maybe it was. If somebody felt it was for them, then that's something they need to check up with themselves. Because all I said is we not the same. My lifestyle don't come from rap. In other words, I'm not a rapper. But don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with just being a rapper. If there's somebody that grew up just being a rapper, like Will Smith, I have no gripes with him, and I have I have nothing but admiration and respect for him. He never ever once said he was from the street or he sold drugs, and I totally admire him and respect him. So just because I said we're not the same, my lifestyle comes from rap, doesn't mean that I'm saying I'm better than somebody who's never been in the street. So I'm not. So that's just basically me saying that verse was about me, not about anybody else. I'm just saying I'm different from certain people. You know what I'm saying? My lifestyle didn't come from rap. I've had jewelry and all this other stuff before I was a known rapper. But that at the same time, that's nothing to be proud of. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that was.
Invaluable lesson. You talk about your time in prison and what you learned about yourself. And I was just always curious. Have you ever thought, like, if you didn't go to prison, how different your career would have been? Do you think you would have continued this career, or would you? Or do you even think that you have created this album called Mega Philosophy?
If I never went to prison, I don't know what would have happened. Maybe me going to prison saved my life. Right. Or maybe me going to prison saved me doing that amount of time I did in prison, which I did a few years, but maybe a few years saved me from doing a symbolic number of years. Because a lot of people that was in my inner circle did a lot of years, 7 years and up type thing, you know. So maybe me doing that stint saved me, but maybe being that everybody's life is a book, and that was just part. That was a chapter in my life that I had to go through, you know what I'm saying? And I turned those pages. If I didn't go to jail, I went to jail, and me going to jail put me in a box. When I was in a box, segregation, in a segregated box, you know, where they don't have no TV, no entertainment, all you get is books. And the first book that I read was an autobiography of Malcolm X. That was game-changing. That's life-altering right there. And then from there, I was inspired and motivated by Malcolm. And that made me go get a GED. That made me go to the law library, fight my case, which enabled me to come home on tail. That enabled me to get my GED and go to college and get college credits and you know, do a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? So me going to prison was a blessing and a curse. It was a double-edged sword.
I want to talk about the second track of the album, Mars, featuring AZ, Redman, Styles P, and that's really the all-star lineup right there, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of, what was the mission of the track, and kind of if you could talk to the audience about what the collaboration creation process was. Were you guys all in the studio together, of course, with the agent?
No, I wasn't in the studio with any of those artists, because every single artist, the thing I like about Mars, every single artist that's on it is established and is a star. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Some stars shine brighter than others, but they all illuminate. So, Redman's another one of those artists. You can't barely find Redman. Redman does so many shows, et cetera, et cetera. So Styles P is a very good dude. It's my brother, and he was busy, but when he found some room to breathe, he did his verse, and same thing with AZ. So I was just fortunate, for one, that I even know those brothers, and for two, that I was able to get them all on one track, because it's magic.
And also, when you have four incredible MCs, including yourself, on a track like this, with these incredible lyrical skills, how do you decide what order you guys go in?
See, a song like Mars is easy, because whenever it's Mars, M is always going to be Mega, A is always going to be whoever's name is A, R is always going to be whoever's name is for the R, and S is going to be whoever's name is for the S. So the song, so basically I just use the initials from everybody's name, and that's how the lineup is filled out.
I've talked to many people about this album, and some have described Mega Philosophy as kind of an awakening in your career, and people who haven't listened to you in the past are now listening to you. Is that what you intended? Did you do this album because one thing is to gain a broader audience, or was there just something else behind it?
I did this album just as somebody that just wanted to put out an album. I had no idea that I was going to get as much recognition as I did for this album or praise from it. I had no idea I would have a Chuck D advocating for me on this album. I had no idea I would have a Rashid Chappelle saying this is the new classic. You know, so I just named somebody from the true school, and I just named somebody that's a rather newer artist. You know, and then there's a multitude of other artists. There's a multitude of media people who have said this is the album of the year. I never said that, but a lot of people have. If you go on my timeline and you read, or if you do a Twitter search and you read what the fans are writing, there's dozens or maybe hundreds of fans that said thank you. We have fans saying thank you for an album. I usually say thank you that they bought it. They're telling me thank you, or this is a breath of fresh air, or this was needed. So when I'm hearing all of this stuff, it's making me like, wow, this album is more. This album is special already. Like it's already special. Like, and I didn't know that it was as special as it was. I just thought I was trying to make a good album, but it's become special. It's taken on a life of its own, and I'm blessed for that.
The track on this album, Mega Philosophy, entirely produced by Large Professor, which best defines kind of your mission of this album?
I think my mission was just to make an incredible album, to make the best album that I could possibly make with Large Professor, and just to come back. I needed this to be my comeback album, and it is. Now I'm invigorated, now I'm inspired, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to do some new stuff now.
What track on this album do you think kind of best defines your career at this point, or where you are in your career at this point?
I can't even call it. I don't even know what my favorite song is from this album. I mean, the intro even is incredible to me. So I don't even know what song I like the best, though. I'm just really proud of this album. It's like it's like 11 children. I don't know which one I love the best, but they all are special in their own way.
That's awesome. Best way for listeners to kind of follow what you're doing and to, of course, pick up the album?
Pick up the album, Google Play, iTunes, Amazon.com. There's also CDs. There's also vinyl, and there's cassettes. You can Google that and look around for that and find it. UndergroundHipHop.com also has the music. And I'm on Twitter at Real Cormega, and I just started Instagram. It's Mega Philosophy. It's basically the name of the album. So those are the best ways to get in touch with me.
Cool. New album is Mega Philosophy, entirely produced by Large Professor. Features Black Rob, Nature, AZ, Redman, Styles P, and more. Cormega, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me in the library with Tim Einenkel on RapStation.com.
Yo, thanks for having me. Anytime, man. You guys are definitely my brothers.
I never got lost or took cowardice steps. I move honorably, gained a lot of respect. Saw poverty, but wouldn't trade God for success. In fact, maybe I'm too advanced for crack babies. My impact is similar to Basquiat paintings. Visually fascinated, reality rap, not the fabricated. Will have you anxious to sell weight, but feds are patient. Like architects building cases. The foundation is information I give it. My lyrics ain't easily assimilated. My pen is crazy. I went from living on the edge to the realm of greatness. Was willed into existence. This is continuation of skill revealed in music. We originated in places full of napped-hair, melanated descendants of slaves who found ways to elevate it.
Grey's Anatomy, amazed with duality. I inhaled and propelled through polarities. Rap reality, trapper, actor, athlete. Choose carefully, use vernacular accurately. None after me, number 4 is factually. I'm the core conquistador of the faculty. Bastard seed, black fatigues, prestigious Cincy leases from the Masters League. Massive weed, placed on a mantle with the Jack Daniels. Ruger strap with the wooden shellac handle. Tap the sample, approved, cop and bounce. Never announced financial loser, stop the count. Lost but found was both in the same breath. The souls remain fresh, every dose came correct. The game respect, hoodie on for the gone. So the fake cop that shot little Trayvon.
I rep my city hard, I live for it. I'm like a shotgun blast when I'm recording. I bring down the house like Steve Martin. You can smell weed when your boy pre-boarding. Call me Delta, you can earn air miles. Tracks like dirty laundry, I air it out. Red Man like a movie, I'm Paramount. That's why they imitating me like Weird Al. Boy, in the club I get butted. Yellow House General, don't butt in. Circle around the block, tell them I'm coming. It's no VIP, I'm in like bruh, man. But I kick back and roll perp up, yes, and write an ill flow. I stay grinding when the thirst's up. Hip hop, watch how I work hard.
Short nights make the days longer, and your problems will start to weigh on you. Gotta pray when they pray on you. Feel kinda funny when the 4 pound stays on you. You think it's much better to hustle for European luxury, American muscle. It's bricks or bread in the duffel of 2 long guns. Beware of the letter to touch you. Thinking is it better to crush you or just walk away? Looking at your neck, put the hawk away. The pain to remain, the rain to wash the chalk away. My problems way well walk away. Swimming in the waters with the great whites on the highway, but you don't see my brake lights. 7 days in a week, I'm on the 8th night. On the dark side, but I ain't bring a safe light.